going to be a quick tutorial on how to integrate the multiplayer traps pack into the multiplayer zombie survival template. They pretty much work right out the box. You just drag and drop them into your levels, but there's a few little things I wanted to tweak. First thing is if you go to HGT, characters, base character, and third person character. Right here there's a camera visibility sphere, and you don't want this camera sphere to trigger any damage on the player from traps or anything else. So by default it's set to do all that. What you want to do is you want to set the collision preset to custom, and you only want it to overlap the pawn. Everything else is set to ignore. All this thing is supposed to do, what it's for anyways, is to overlap with your player. When your camera gets pushed up against a wall and touches your player, it makes your player go invisible. That's what it's for. I mean, I can show you in the game. When you go up against a wall like this, you want your character to go invisible so you can still see. That's all it's for. So by doing that quick little fix, you won't accidentally trigger damage events by your camera visibility sphere. So we can close that. The next thing we want to do is let's tweak the pressure plate trap, spike trap. So if we go to content, traps, blueprints, and it's the BP spike floor trap. Looks like this. What we want to do is we want to make sure this trigger here, which is called the trap trigger, scroll down to its collision and make sure it's set to overlap all. And then inside, since we're using zombies, we want to go and find the begin overlap with player and end overlap with player. And what you want to do is you want to drag them over to the side, and this is for later, but basically you just want to cast to a character. You drag off of the other actor, type in cast to character, and then plug it into the connect it into the number of actors in the trap. Same with the end overlap, cast to character, and plug it in. And basically that'll just allow it to calculate how many zombies are stepping in the trap and stuff like that correctly. That's pretty much it for out of the box. That will get all the traps will work just like they're supposed to, and they'll kill zombies. That's it for the first part of the video here, so you can stop watching if that's all you wanted, was the default way these traps work. But part 2 of this video, which I'm gonna start in just a second, is gonna be explaining how to make traps that can be turned on and off by specific triggers. So I know these look like doors, but I used it to make them a trigger. So like if you walked up to this trigger and it would say hold F to kill zombies, or in this case this one over here, hold F to turn on trap for 5 points. And then you have a trap duration here, say 10 seconds, and then you also have the trap that you want to turn on and off. In this case it's the spinning trap. So this is what I'm going to do in the next part of this video here. Basically you just pick the trap you want to target. You can target multiple traps, as many as you want, and it'll turn them all on and off. Just like popular games like Call of Duty Zombies and other games like that. Any kind of thing that you could turn on a trap with a lever or a switch or whatever. So that's what I'm about to cover. So let's hop right into that next. So let's go to traps, blueprints. We'll open up the parent trap. And first thing we want to do is inside of this overlap damage event, we want to customize it where you only get damaged if the trap is actually on. So you want to come in here, click a new variable, create a new variable, and call it isTrapActive. And set it to type Boolean, and also set the replication type to rep notify. Alright, and then what we're going to do inside of this event, or on this overlap damage event, we want to put a branch. We want to put the isTrapActive here, and if it is active, then add that player and do damage. If it's not active, then don't damage them. So that will cover all of our traps, and since we're doing everything in this parent trap blueprint, all of the child blueprints will inherit it, so we don't have to worry about redoing a lot of work over and over. Do it once and be done. So the next thing we want to do is we want to make a trap interface. So just right click, go to blueprint and then blueprint interface. I'm going to call it trap interface. You open it up, make a new function called toggle trap, and then down here on inputs, click the little new parameter button, the little plus sign, add a new input, make it sure it's Boolean, and set it to the name of it as is trap active. Compile and save that, and then inside the back to the BP parent trap, we want to go to class settings. Inside of interfaces down here, you want to click on add, type in trap interface, and add it, and then click compile and save. And then you can right click and type in event toggle trap, and you can add the event, which looks like this. And then we are going to set this variable that we create over here called isTrapActive. You just drag it in and hit set like this, and then connect it up. Then you also want to make two custom events, one called enable trap, one called disable trap. They're just plain custom events. You just right click, type in add custom event, name it enable trap, disable trap. Next we're going to go into this onRep function called onRep isTrapActive that was created by this variable. Open it up. We want to do a branch and plug in the isTrapActive variable. Off of the true we enable trap, off the defaults we disable trap, and then I think that concludes everything we got to do inside of this parent trap. The next thing we want to do is just go in and start working on our trigger, I believe. So what I'm going to do is reuse the door blueprint. So you just go to HGT, blueprints, doors, and you can just click the door here, right click it and duplicate it. And I called it trap trigger. And once you open it up, it'll look just like a door. You can come in here and you can customize this. So let's just change this to like a cube. And you could change it to whatever you want, just so it looks like you could change it into a lever. You can change it into whatever you want. So that's going to be our trap trigger. Inside the event graph here, let's change a few things for the variables. So we want like the entered zone to activate. We don't need that. Actually, I don't even think, yeah, we don't need it anymore. So if you come down to like the open door event and you scroll over to the right after remove points, there's some nodes here for cast into the game mode and stuff like that. Delete those. You don't need anything after the remove points. Then you'll be able to delete the entered zone to activate. Delete it. The hint string variable, let's go ahead and click the checkbox to make it instance editable and exposed on spawn. And then you can also edit the default value here. Make it say hold F to turn on trap. The open time here, we will just make it instance editable, exposed on spawn, like uncheck those. Make it where it's not exposed on spawn or instance editable. And then let's go ahead and make two new variables. Click the new variable button. First one will be called target traps, and we want it to be set to a type of actor, which is right here, actor object reference. And then you want to click the little button here and make sure it's set to an array and not a single variable. Make sure it's instance editable and exposed on spawn. And then you want to make another variable that's just a float. Make sure it's just a single variable, it's float. Expose it to with expose on spawn, instance editable. I set the default value to 10. This is how long the trap will be, the duration of the trap will run. So you'll trigger it, it'll run for 10 seconds, and then it'll turn off. And since you're exposing it on spawn, we can edit each one inside your level. So if you wanted a trap for 10 seconds and one for 20 seconds, you can do all that. Alright, so now on the open door event, at the end, right after remove points, you want to drag off, you want to do a for each loop and plug in the target traps variable into the array. And this is where we're going to use that toggle trap message. So you would drag off of this array element, type in toggle trap, and make sure it says toggle trap message and has a little envelope in the corner. Check the box to true here, and then off of complete, just do a simple delay and plug in the trap duration variable that we had down here. And then you can just copy these three nodes, paste them down here off of the complete on the delay, but make sure the isTrapActive box is unchecked this time so it'll turn the trap off. So that will do it for the actual trap trigger. Now all we have to do is go into our individual traps and set up the logic. So like for the spike trap, you open up the spike trap and it looks like this. We'll come up here to the begin play, just right click and type in event enable trap, and it'll give you this little event here. Just plug it right into the delay node, which is right after this branch. Make sure you plug it right here into this delay. And then let's go over here and we'll, on the left hand side, I'm going to also do the event disable trap. You type in event disable trap, gives you this event, and I'm going to run a sequence node and connect these into the move forward and move backwards. I'm just going to make it return, so it will go back to where it was. And same with down here on the move backwards, plug it into the return node. And if there's anything else you wanted the traps to do on the event disable or enable traps, this is where you would do it. And then inside of the update trap, on rep update trap, for every trap you're going to have to do this. You'll open up this on rep and just add this branch like this. So a branch that checks to see if the trap is active. If true, then you plug it in to the other part of the logic here. If not, do nothing. And then on side, since this is a spike trap and has a trigger event, we're going to use the same thing, the branch with the is trap active, to check inside of the begin overlap with player and end overlap. If the trap is active, set the true to the cast to character, and then it continues on. Down here you want to do it after you cast a character, so when you leave it casts character and then check to see if the trap is active. But off of the fault on this one, you want to set this number of actors in the trap to 0 off of the faults pin. So that will pretty much do it for that. We can hop over to the next trap, say like this spinning trap here, spinning blade trap. We'll open it up, and it's the same exact thing. You come up to the top, add the event enable trap, plug it into the delay node here, and I'm just going to go ahead and make the trap effects, trap SFX here. I'll drag it in, and then just drag off of it and type in stop, and you can stop the sound, so it won't be playing all the time when the trap's not doing anything. And put that off the false pin on the start automatically. And then you come over here on the left hand side, do the same thing, event disable trap, run a sequence node, connect it into the return node on move forward, move backwards, and I also did a stop trap sound, stop the SFX for when the trap's disabled. Same thing, open up the on rep update trap, add the same branch check for is trap active there. And that pretty much does it. And let's see, the spin blade, since it's a spinny blade that goes round and round, you want to find the spin blade, and after the move component 2, just do another branch, is trap active, if true, spin, if not, do nothing. And that will pretty much do that one. It's the same for all the other traps. We don't have to go through all of them because you get the point. It's the same concept. Open up the saw blade, you would just come up here, you would do enable trap here, plug it into that. You would probably want to do the same stop sound effects, saw blade sound effects. You would want to add that off the faults to stop so they don't make noise. Open up the update trap and add in the logic there. And same with the spinning saw blade, add a check right there. And add the disable trap here on the left hand side. So it's pretty much the same. Once you got all that going, then you can come in here, click the trigger, give it a cost for how many points you want. You click on the plus icon to add the traps that you want. Click the little eyedropper and then just select the trap that you want to activate. I'm going to pick the spike trap. So that's the spike trap that will be turned on by this trigger. And this one will be turned on by this trigger. So if we just come in here and I click this, click the eyedropper, and then select that trap. You can set this duration, let's make it like 20 seconds, and then we'll make this one's duration 10 seconds. So they're independent from each other, and you can make this one cost 45 points and this one costs 5 points. We hop into the game. You run over here and it says turn on traps for 45 points. You turn it on, starts going, chopping up zombies. Then we come over to this one, 5 points, turn it on, starts going. That one's going to go for 20 seconds. This one's going to turn off in 10 seconds. So we'll just wait. We can see the zombies getting killed by the stuff. That one turned off and returned to its spot. This one's turned off too. I can walk on it, nothing happens. I can walk into this, nothing happens. Nothing kills me. All is good. And you can turn it back on. And same with this one. Turn it back on. And then it goes back and forth. Zombies are getting stronger, so you might have to adjust the health on the actual traps, which you can just click here. And just in the default settings, you can turn on start automatically as false. Trap damage, it's set to 35, which is low. You can set it to something like 999 or whatever you need for your damage, and it'll do the damage. But other than that, that's pretty much it. That should give you the options to turn on and off traps. Like I said, switch out the models for these triggers. Put a cool little power switch or something that you, or a button or lever, anything. You press it, cost points, cha-ching. This turns on, goes for X amount of time, kills zombies, then turns off. So, like I said, they work right out the box, but if you wanted to add this, it's pretty easy too once you set it up. So thanks for watching.